How we do, guys? Right, so we're going to start looking at fundamentals. First, the thing that occurred to me just the other day is I've never mentioned stringing the bow, and I've noticed a lot of people do this. If you're experiencing something, the basics tend to get overlooked when you're trying to teach somebody else. So, stringing the bow, lots of different methods, but these fundamentals I'm going to do are purely from the basis of the visually impaired. What I think is the safest, best, easiest way to do it for the visually impaired. Now, when you're stringing the bow, there are loads of different ways. The three main ways are to use a stringer, to brace the bow, or to use the step-through method. Now, none of these methods are fundamentally dangerous. They're all about as difficult or as easy to do as each other, but some of them are a little bit more controllable if you don't have very much vision. And I think the best for the visually impaired is step-through. And that's what I'm going to show you. First thing you need to do is familiarize, now bear in mind this is visually impaired, familiarize yourself with the feel of the knock where the string goes over. So get your string, find the smallest loop on the end of the string. You will find that each loop is a different size. The smallest one is the bottom loop, that goes on the bottom limb. Place it over the limb, over the knocking point. Make sure it's in place. You find the string grooved on the back of the limb, and then just feel, just familiarize yourself with how it feels with the string down the center of the groove and the knocking points full of, so again, the string, you shouldn't be able to feel the string over the knock. Most knocking points are cut deeply enough that you won't feel the string if it's knocked properly. If it isn't knocked properly, you will feel it sticking out. If it's done properly, all you feel on the back is the V of the noose, and then the string with the serving going down the center of the string groove on the back of the limb. Right, so I would suggest you actually put your bottom string on. Well, actually, we'll do it from scratch. So the first thing you're going to do is find the biggest loop. That's your top. So put that over the limb completely and let it slide down, let it hang down. Then get your smallest loop, the other end of the string, and place that into or onto the knocking point. And make sure it's correctly positioned. Make sure it's no lumps sticking out. Make sure it's lined up with the string groove. Then keeping tension on the string with your left hand. Keep the tension on it. This is where this comes in handy. Push the string as far as up it'll go. Now you're keeping tension on the string all the time. This is going to stop it slipping off the knocking point at the end. Now keeping tension on, step through. Sorry, put your step through with your right leg so that the recurve of the bottom limb wraps around the front of your leg. Use your right hand to keep the tension on, and the back of the bow itself goes between your legs, string in front of your right leg, bow behind your right leg, and you can just get your feet about shoulder width apart, bottom limb around your left leg, middle of the bow roughly around the back of your right leg, and then just keeping tension on the string all the time. Transfer the tension from your right hand to your left hand, and then with your right hand just gently push the limb of the bow forwards. All the time slipping the string up the limb until you feel it come into contact with the string grooves and the knocking points. And then making sure, keeping tension on the bow limb all the time, making sure that the string is in the center of the string groove and that the loop on the string has gone into the knocking points, the grooves themselves, and then gently release the pressure on the bow. There we go, job done. Now it's a D string, it's exactly the opposite. Recurve around your left ankle, the front of your left ankle, your left foot, leg. String your right leg between the bow and the string. So the string's in front, bow is behind. Put your right hand onto the upper limb. Don't have to grab it, just put it on. And then gently apply pressure to take the strain off the string. At which point you can either take the string off completely, still keeping tension on it, or, which is more advisable, just let it slide down the limb. That's it, simple as. So you're stringing, you just bring the whole thing forward under tension, keeping tension on the string all the time. Don't let the string go loose, otherwise it could potentially fall off the bottom knock. Now the problem with stringing bows, the problem always arrives when you let the tension off after you think you've got the string in place. And if the bottom loop isn't sitting in the knock properly, that's when things can happen. This is why I prefer this method, because you've got tension on the string and you're maintaining tension on the string all the time, and you've got both hands together. Now if you can't see very well, the best way to be if you're controlling something is with both hands together. You can manipulate it that much easier and that much more safely. Right, so you've strung the bow, step out, and then before you do anything, just check that hasn't slipped. If it has, go back, step through, take the tension off it. But we're good to go. Right, so there we go. Now that will work with any bow, whether it's a longbow, a recurve, an Olympic target, horse bows, it'll work with all of them. The bracing methods, sometimes it's a little bit awkward with shorter bows. The stringer method I don't like, because that's when the accidents seem to happen. The bracing method, I've only ever actually had it happen to me once. Accidents don't happen very often, but the one time it happened to me was I was bracing a recurve bow, and then as I let the tension off, the bottom loop had actually slipped without me realising, and it whacked me in the side of the head as it just let go, and the whole thing just bang, and it hurt. I've seen it once when somebody was using a stringer, same thing happened, but because the stringer, you got the bow like this, it literally jumped up. Nothing happened, didn't do any damage, didn't hurt the person, but I think using the step through is the easiest and safest option for the visually impaired. Right, anyway, so got the bow strung, let's go down, and now what you can do some shooting. Right, so, right, see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.